Hi guys, this is Brenda. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I'm excited to share my story, and I'm excited to share with you guys the science of Nrf2 activation and how it can help you with any issues that you might be having. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to also show a video to you guys that gives you a little bit of the history of how I was introduced to this company and why I'm passionate about sharing these products. So my background was corporate America. I actually was a vice president of human resources for a Fortune 5 company. And at the height of my career, I got really, really sick. I was actually I was a VP of human resources, and I loved what I did because I love helping people. I love lifting people up. And at the height of my career, I got sick. And that was really tough for me because I was always a person that prior to June of 2004 had always been ridiculously healthy. Tons of energy, the Energizer Bunny, burning the candle at both sides, exercising in the gym, just living a life of abundance and health and thriving. And so what I know to be true for me, and I know to be true for a lot of other people, and I didn't realize it until I got sick, was that you don't realize how much you take your health for granted until you no longer have your health. And that was my case. My story starts where, like I said, in June of 2004, I woke up one day and I had hives, welts, rashes all over my body. And I went from doctor to doctor and no one could figure out what was wrong with me. But the itching was bone deep. It was just nonstop itching. I tell people, imagine that you have thousands and thousands of mosquito bites on your skin and the itching never ever stopped. And that was the case for me. I itched from June of 2004 until September of 2011. And I also believe that once you have a chink in the armor of your immune system, that opens the floodgates to a bunch of other things. So as I was dealing with the chronic itching, the diagnosis was chronic autoimmune urticaria. As I was dealing with that, I then was subsequently, I got sicker and sicker. And I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. Fibromyalgia was so painful that I actually would wear my clothing inside out because just the seams of clothing was painful on my body. Sitting was painful. Laying was painful. Just, everything was painful. Chronic fatigue was, I would lay in bed and I would, say, Brenda, move your arm. Brenda, let's get up. And literally I would lay there and I could not get this to communicate with my limbs. And that was really hard, especially for me, strong type A personality that was always on the go, and to be humbled and to be in a situation where I couldn't move my body and I couldn't do the things that, even though my brain was willing and my mind was willing, my body was not willing. And so if what I'm saying resonates with you, you're at the right place, because I think we have a solution for you. Let me just share this with you real quick. A lot of times when I do these presentations, people look at me and they're like, oh, you don't look like you were sick. So I have a page I want to share with you. But so today, just to go back a few seconds, we're going to be learning about the science of nutrigenomics. And nutrigenomics is literally the science of using plant-based nutrition to impact your genetic expression, your gene code. And so what we're doing is we're naturally just activating the body to upregulate the good stuff and downregulate the bad stuff like inflammation, fibrosis, those types of things. So at my sickest, as I was mentioning, I had fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, autoimmune urticaria, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver disease. I was a sick puppy. And I grew up in a household where you don't know what you don't know. And so we went to the doctors, and the doctors kept saying, well, you need this, you need this, you need this. And I just kept taking more and more medications, not knowing that the more and more medications I was taking, the more side effects I was having from all those medications. So you see here on the right-hand corner here, at my sickest, I was on 24 prescription medications. in and out of the hospital all the time. In fact, I finally ended up taking a medical retirement because I couldn't think. Part of chronic fatigue syndrome is that you have cognitive dysfunction, and everything that came out of my mouth, I would forget. And my husband, I was always saying to him, hey, honey, Randy, what did I just say? What did I just say? And he would basically parrot to me what I had said. So I was praying for something. I got to the point where I also had chronic vertigo and chronic nausea. Chronic vertigo, chronic nausea started in January of 2011. And literally, you guys, when I say it didn't stop until probably September of 2011, it was crazy. It just was really miserable. So if you're watching this and you're resonating with this, I hope you are, because I tell you, my target audience is people that are really suffering, people that have significant issues that really are praying for something. They've tried everything else and they're looking for a solution. So we were introduced to this company in August of 2011. I had never done this type of a business before, but I'm grateful for word of mouth. I'm grateful for word of mouth because the reason that you guys are watching this today is because somebody invited you to take a look and to get this information. And I tell people all the time, my job is not to sell you. My job is simply to educate you on my story, to educate you on the science and on the products. And then you get to make a decision. You get to make a decision on whether the information resonates for you, and maybe it doesn't, and that's okay. But you may know somebody. You may know somebody that this could be a potential solution for, okay? So we were introduced to this product and the science of this in August of 2011. My husband was at a McDonald's restaurant, and he was sitting there, and the McDonald's restaurant was completely full. And a 24-year-old young man, Ryan, who I will love forever, because he sat down, there was one seat available, and he just basically asked my husband, hey, can I sit here at the same table because all the other seats are full? And my husband said, sure. And so they got to talking, and Ryan asked my husband a simple question. He simply asked him, are you open to watching an ABC primetime investigative report that features the product that I read for? And Randy said, sure. And Ryan wrote it on a napkin. And when Randy got home, he watched it, and I was in bed, and I hear this, Brenda, you got to get up. You got to get up. You got to come watch this this report. And I dragged myself out of bed, and I watched it. And all I could think about, you guys, was what if? The video was intriguing enough that I said, what if this could help me? What if this could help me even just a tiny little bit? I wasn't in any way, shape, or form expecting it to do what it did for me, but I just thought, what if it could help me just a little bit? It's worth it. And I thought to myself, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain by giving it a shot. And if you're watching this and you feel like, oh my gosh, it's one more pill, it's one more thing, nothing else has worked, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And we are in the supplement category, our products, so the FDA does not allow us to make any claims that our products treat, mitigate, prevent, or cure any diseases. So I'm not making that claim as I'm speaking to you. What our products do is they lower inflammation. Our products lower this condition called oxidative stress, or in other words, just free radical damage, cellular damage. And it does that in a way, and that's what I'm going to educate you guys on today. But we're not allowed to make any product claims, any healing claims. But when you're able to reduce inflammation, when you're able to reduce that oxidative stress, then your body can function better. And so my body is now functioning better. And because my body's functioning better, I got my life back. And that's my hope for so many people. So, the rest of my story is that I got on the products, and it's not a magic pill. It takes time for the body, for it to work in the body. And it worked for me. And here I am, a happy camper. And I started, networking and sharing about the science and the products. And then I went and got my mammogram, and my mammogram comes back, and then I did an ultrasound and ended up with breast cancer. And I was like, are you kidding me? But I really believe that everything happens for a purpose. And so I just I am a person of faith, and I just said, you know what? I think just God has a bigger story for me to tell. So I went through, the cancer was both breasts and also in my lymph nodes. And I made a personal decision to go through chemotherapy and radiation therapy, but I kept taking our flagship product, Protandim. And I took it because I wanted to protect my healthy cells because chemo damages everything. So my goal was to protect my healthy cells while I was going through the chemotherapy, and my results were really, really great. My doctors actually said, Brenda, your blood work looks like that of a person that is, 8 to 12 months out of chemotherapy. And we just don't see that. The other things that were just from a blood work perspective, my inflammation markers were down significantly. There's a couple blood tests. One is called CRP, quantitative or high sensitivity, and that my sickest, that was 15.3. On the blood work, it says 0 is good, 4.9 is high. Mine was 15.3. 3 months later, when my doctor tested my CRP, it had gone down to 2.7. My CRP cardiac, which measures your chances of having a heart-related issue, at my sickest, on that blood test, 0 is good, and I want to say 3.0 is the high end. Mine was 12.43, and it went down to 2.4 in 3 months. So you can see when we talk about inflammation really being a lot at the root of diseases, that this is lowering that inflammation. So what I want to do right now, you guys, is I want to show you I'm not a doctor, and I don't try to pretend that I'm a doctor, but we do share the ABC Primetime Investigative Report because I want you to see this the way that I saw it. It is dated. It's from 2005. So the ABC Primetime is dated, but we show it because it's not a company video. It's completely third party. And the reason that there's an ABC investigative report with John Quinones is that when the company came out in 2005, they had a claim. And our claim, LifeVantage claim, is that our product, our flagship product, Protandim, reduces oxidative stress, which is cellular damage, by an average of 40% in 30 days. That is a huge claim. There is not a single other product on the market that reduces oxidative stress by even 10%. And so ABC sent John Quinones to do an investigation because that claim sounded too good to be true. So we're going to watch that ABC report. And that oxidative stress, you guys, why is it such a big deal? That oxidative stress is literally at the root cause of how we age, why we age, and why we get age-related diseases. And Protandim is lowering that by 40% in 30 days. So I'm going to go ahead and take us to that ABC Primetime.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig. Dr. Mccord, okay. I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Jill Mccord, a world-renowned scientist. This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company. They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
bad for the body,
leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. So, doctor, how often do I take these? And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. Doesn't taste bad. It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression.
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
Dr. James Crapo with the National Jewish Medical Center in Denver is also researching Protandim for the company. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would. I can't guarantee it's going to extend your life. I can't guarantee it's going to eliminate any diseases or cure any diseases.
But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
Major universities.
Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. That ABC Primetime Investigative Report, there's another second half to it, and you're able to watch it by going to www.abcliveit.com, and you're going to be able to watch the beginning that you just saw, and then also a little bit of the update that has some other additional information that I just found totally captivating. So let me go ahead and go back to the slides. So you can imagine that as a really sick person that I was just totally blown away by that information. And I'm a science geek, you guys. I really am. Not everybody has to do this, but I'm that girl. And I think that when you're really sick, there is nobody that's more interested in reading about the science than a sick person that's dying. And that was me. And that is no exaggeration. So I literally, like, my husband has never read a single one of the peer-reviewed studies. I'm the girl that was laying in bed sick, reading every single of the reports, the science, just because I was captivated by it, and because I had so many things going on, I was interested. So how many of you guys, before watching that ABC investigative report, even knew what the term oxidative stress is? I certainly didn't. I knew about free radicals, but I didn't know oxidative stress. So really, what is oxidative stress? It's rusting of the body from the inside out. That's why our cells age. The easiest visual for people is that of an apple. You cut an apple in half, you let it sit, and it turns brown. And that's simply oxidation. And that's literally what's happening to the cells of our body. And so for, we've been taught to take antioxidants, but I'm going to be sharing with you in this webinar why that's old technology and why it's not effective, okay? So people will say to me, well, what causes that oxidative stress? Why should I even be concerned about oxidative stress? Well, everything around us contributes to that oxidative stress. It literally is it's that free radical damage, and then downstream is oxidative stress, and that equals cellular damage, which leads to disease and which leads to death. And everything around us is contributing to that free radical damage. So it's the radiation, it's, I have people that will say, well, I exercise, Brenda, I don't need to worry about, I'm taking care of my body. But when you exercise, you create even more free radicals. When people say, well, I eat really healthy, it doesn't matter how healthy you eat. You're still gonna have that free radical damage because your body automatically every single day creates hundreds of millions and millions and millions of free radicals. And there's just no way to keep up with that free radical damage. As you saw, as we age, our oxidative stress goes up and our ability for our body to deal with it goes down. So everything around us, just in the air that we breathe, if you're breathing oxygen, you have oxidative stress. And so, why is that topic so important, you guys? And I didn't know this at all, but I want you to take a really close look at this wheel here. So oxidative stress is literally linked at the root cause of hundreds and hundreds of diseases. And so, it's literally at the root cause of every diseases with regards to every body function. So, issues with the brain, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and autism and stroke, and issues with the immune system, autoimmune issues, lupus, folks that have, MS and chronic inflammation issues, blood vessel issues, multi-organ, diabetes, chronic fatigue, eye function, macular degeneration and cataracts, and, heart, skin issues and kidney issues and joint issues, especially rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis and psoriatic arthritis, asthma. All of these are impacted at the very front end by that free radical damage. And so a lot of times people will say, well, Brenda, how is that one pill can impact so many things? It just sounds too good to be true. But it's not. If you think about oxidative stress being at the front end of all of those diseases, of all of those conditions, then you then understand why having a tool like Protandim that lowers that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, and actually in the human clinical, it was up to 70% in 120 days, how that can be really super powerful for you. So how does that happen? How does Protandim work? Well, Protandim works, let me just move this up a little bit here. So Protandim works by activating this messenger in the body called Nrf2. And I'm not going to get all sciencey on you guys, but the Nrf2 pathway literally is also a more recent discovery. And so by flipping the switch on that pathway, which is like a thermostat in the body, your body does the work. It's like Protandim is not really a supplement, because supplement implies that you're adding something to. Protandim is more an activator. It's activating your body. It's telling your body to do the work. So what Protandim does is it activates this protein messenger. It helps the body to regulate at peak efficiency. And so what we've been taught in the past, in its old technology, I always talk to people about the fact that, there are technology advancements all the time. We've gone from typewriters to computers. We've gone from rotary phones to cell phones. There's just so many different, high-speed internet from dial-up internet. It's not a surprise that there's a technology advancement that has taken us from taking antioxidants to having your body make them. And your body making those antioxidants is so much more effective than taking antioxidants. Because here's the old technology. When you take antioxidants, what we've been taught, take your blueberries, your vitamin C pills, your juice drinks, those one antioxidant that you consume, which is called an indirect antioxidant, will only neutralize one free radical. They bind and they're excluded. And then you need to keep on consuming more and more. But when you activate the body, when you activate that messenger in the body, just one of your body's antioxidant enzymes will neutralize 1 million free radicals every second of every day. You guys get that? Dr. Mccord, who you saw in that video, he and I had a discussion, and he has a great analogy. He says this, just so that you guys can understand the impact of this, especially as it relates to lowering that inflammation. So lowering that cell damage. So he says, imagine that your house is on fire. That's your body. That free radical damage is damaging your cells. That's why we age and why we get age-related diseases. So imagine that your house is on fire. And we all know that water puts out fire. But he says that if you're consuming antioxidants, it's as if you're throwing a Dixie cup of water on a house fire. It's not gonna make an impact at all. But when you activate the body's antioxidant enzymes, it's as if you have a fire hose in every single room of the house. In our body's case, it's as if you have a fire hose putting out that free radical damage in every single cell of your body, okay? So that's a humongous difference. So that Nrf2 messenger, you guys, why it's so exciting for me is that Washington State University came out with a study, and it was from 2015, and it's a review article on the science of Nrf2 and the potential that they're seeing in activating it. And Protandim right now is the most potent Nrf2 activator on the market, and it's all natural. It's not pharmaceutical, okay? There are about 10 pharmaceutical companies that are chasing down the science of creating pharmaceutical Nrf2 activators for specific diseases, but those are gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Protandim is all natural, and it's $40 a month plus shipping and tax, okay? But in that review article that was not done by LifeVantage, it was done by Washington State, here are their conclusions. They say, we may be on the verge of a new literature on the health effects of Nrf2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. Activating Nrf2, they're saying two huge words there, therapeutic, so for people that have issues, and also for folks that are totally healthy, that don't want to get the stuff, the bad stuff. Think about prevention. I always tell people, dig the well before you're thirsty, right? You want to stay on the front end of prevention as opposed to scrambling and trying to dig yourself out of the hole. Also in that same review article, they talk about here, again, in this table, diseases where raising Nrf2 is reported to be useful in prevention and or treatment in animal models and or humans. And again, if you look at all of these diseases, it's all the stuff that we don't want. And if you're watching this webinar and you've got one of these things going on, hopefully by the time I'm done, you're gonna understand that this is something that you should at least give a shot. Give it, start taking it. And again, we're not making any claims of treating, mitigating, or curing, but again, it's all about lowering inflammation, lowering that oxidative stress, and activating that Nrf2 pathway. So also another couple of articles here, Oregon State University, they talk about, when it finds a problem, Nrf2 essentially goes back to the cellular nucleus and rings the alarm bell, where it can turn on up to 200 genes that are responsible for cell repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions. In their report, the scientists called it a longevity assurance factor. That's powerful. And then also, so many people take these antioxidant supplements, and so the National Institute for Aging actually did a study. And what they were interested in learning was what supplements or pharmaceuticals out there actually can extend life. And you guys, we're not talking about wanting to live forever. What we're talking about is having quality of life. When a person is suffering from issues, that's not quality of life. So if you can take something that's going to give you quality of life, so that you can have happy years and quality years, that's what we're talking about. But the National Institute of Aging, what they actually did a 10-year study, and they looked at a number of pharmaceuticals and also natural supplements like fish oil, curcumin, green tea, even resveratrol, and they compared it to Protandim. And the only supplement after 10 years that was proven to extend life was Protandim, and it was by 7%. So that's powerful. After that ABC Primetime aired, there were a lot of doctors and researchers that were watching that ABC Primetime investigative report, and they contacted Dr. Mccord so that they could get their hands on Protandim and do their own research on diseases and issues that they were interested in. So Harvard, for example, was interested in what could Protandim do in lowering oxidative stress as it relates to Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. Ohio State and Virginia Commonwealth have partnered with the American Heart Association, and they have done heart studies. LSU has done skin cancer studies. And I only show this slide here, you guys, because it's not snake oil. These are reputable research institutions, and they have no vested interest in putting their reputations at stake over a branded supplement. But what's really, really cool is that the fact that they have done the research on a branded supplement. And there's a website called pubmed.gov, www.pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov. And that website is where doctors and researchers go to get medically validated information. That's where published peer-reviewed studies sit. And this branded supplement, Protandim, now has, not only does it have about 59, 60 clinical studies, but the gold standard of medical validation is peer-reviewed studies. And Protandim now has 23 published peer-reviewed studies that if you go to PubMed and enter Protandim, those 23 studies come up. And I don't expect you guys to understand all of the scientific jargon. It's just to say that here we have a branded supplement that research and that validation does exist. So Protandim, it truly is a breakthrough in nutrigenomics. It's that Nrf2 technology. It's lowering that oxidative stress. Again, where to go for the research. For those of you guys that are research minded like I am, you can go to PubMed. 12 patents protecting this, the formulation. For folks that are athletes, Protandim is not just for unhealthy people or people that have issues, but also that healthy person that is taking supplements because you want to be healthy and you want to continue to be as vibrant as possible. If you're an athlete, you can successfully take Protandim without worrying about testing for drugs that are banned, because we have the NSF approval and also we're approved by the Banned Substances Control Group. So there's nothing in Protandim and how it works in the body that's going to come up in a drug test. It's 5 plant ingredients. It's turmeric, it's bacopa, ashwagandha, green tea, and milk thistle. And so sometimes people will say to me, well, Brenda, I already take green tea, or I know about curcumin, or I know about milk thistle. I can go to Whole Foods and I can make my own Protandim. And the answer is no. And that is because it's not about the individual ingredients in Protandim that make it work, that activate that Nrf2 pathway. It's the synergy of those 5 ingredients together that are 1,800 times more effective in the body. So, and you can see here, each of these individual ingredients on their own hardly do anything, but it's that recipe. It's like when you're baking a cake, and if you don't have the exact recipe, your cake may come out as a disaster. And that's what I tell people. So don't try to recreate Protandim. It's $40 a month with shipping and tax. As I mentioned earlier, I just want to give you guys a real quick example. As I mentioned earlier, there are pharmaceutical companies that are chasing down the science of activating that pathway, but with a synthetic Nrf2 activator. The very first one to market is for multiple sclerosis. In that study, if you guys watch commercials, it's called Tecfidera. That's the go-to-market name, Tecfidera. But during the study, it was called BG12. And the scientists compared BG12 or Tecfidera to 2 other compounds that are slight Nrf2 activators, and also Protandim. Now get this, you guys. Understand that this researcher was paid for by the pharmaceutical company. So he does the research, and in his conclusions, he states that, interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and therefore may be the most suited as a therapeutic strategy. That is not LifeVantage making a claim, but if a person is looking for an all-natural option versus pharmaceutical option, they may want to consider this. The other thing is interesting is that Tecfidera or BG12 is $54,000 a year, and Protandim is $40 a month plus shipping and tax. Recently, a drug came out for Alzheimer's, I believe, and it's $120,000 a year. It's the second Nrf2 activator that's coming on the market, but $120,000 a year. And the research that has been done is showing that Protandim has consistently beaten those 2 formulations. So if anyone wants to get more information on that other study, let me know. And you guys, the slides that I'm sharing with you here, you're welcome to ask for them. Also, if you guys are interested in any of the specific studies for any conditions that you might be interested in, just let me know and I'll get you some additional information. I actually have a girlfriend that's got MS, and she's got tons of lesions in her brain and in her spine. And when she goes to her neurologist cannot believe how well she's doing because she's up and about. And she's not perfect, you guys, but she's up and about. And he says, you should be in a wheelchair right now. And he can't believe it. And he was telling her that she should get on that Tecfidera. And she said, no, I'm on Protandim. And I'm so happy that I got her on it 5.5 years ago, because I truly believe that she would be further down the path if it wasn't for the protection that she's getting. And now to see this journal article study, and there's another one that just came out about Protandim protecting against MS as well. I really believe that taking Protandim has been huge for her. So now there's another pathway in the body. Okay, so we've talked about Protandim lowering inflammation. We all know, or many people know, mitochondria. The mitochondria of the body are super important. The mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. That's where your cellular energy starts with, right? And so LifeVantage has created another nutrigenomic product, another product that's plant-based, 5 plant ingredients, and it literally tells your body to make more mitochondria, and it helps to promote cellular repair. Because just like with oxidative stress, as you age, your oxidative stress goes up, but your body's ability to handle it goes down. As you age, your body's production of mitochondria goes down. So you have less mitochondria and you have damaged mitochondria. And when you have mitochondrial dysfunction, you guys, that is also an open doorway to diseases. And here in the upper left-hand corner, you see that these are diseases that are associated with mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay, so again, plant-based and literally activating Nrf2 is going to increase that cellular energy, that ATP. Now, another product I want to talk to you guys about, because what I'm trying to show you guys is you have options here for those of you guys that are interested. But these 3 products, the Protandim Nrf2, Protandim Nrf1, and ProBio, which we're about to talk about right now, are really, from a core health and wellness standpoint, I believe are staples. And we call that the Activated Essentials packet. So let's talk about ProBio. Probiotics are so important. Literally 80% of your overall immune health starts in your gut. And there is absolutely, it's been proven that there is a brain-gut connection. So many people take probiotics. And we see all the commercials. Take your yogurt. People go to Whole Foods and they go to and they're taking all these really expensive probiotics. But what most people don't know, and what I didn't know, is that most probiotics, the bacteria, that healthy bacteria, it gets eaten and it gets destroyed by the stomach acid. So you only get maybe like 4 to 5% of the bacteria getting to your lower gut, to your upper and lower intestines where it needs to get to. So the thing that's unique about ProBio is that it has a technology called BioTrack. And what BioTrack does is it coats the healthy bacteria, it makes it through the stomach acids, and then another component that's important for you guys to know about probiotics is that it should be time released, because that way it has time to travel from the upper gut to the lower gut. And the LifeVantage ProBio is time released. And then other component about our particular probiotic is that it also has an immune enhancer. It's called Wellmune, and it helps to boost your immune system. When you have an unhealthy gut, when you have leaky gut, when you have a lot of immune issues, it starts in the gut. So again, what I believe is these 3 products are at the center of a health and wellness toolkit. My husband and I, we always talk about having a health and wellness toolkit, so that you can really optimize your health. And so what's interesting about these 3 products, you guys, is, I'm a breast cancer survivor. And I recently went to a what's called the Best Hope for Cancer Prevention Summit. It was here in San Diego. And the doctors were on the stage, and there were 20 of the top doctors from around the country. And they were talking about what causes cancer. And you guys, I couldn't have set it up any better. The doctors all consistently were talking about what causes cancer. Oxidative stress causes cancer, and that we need to lower that oxidative stress. Well, here we have a product that lowers it by 40% in 30 days. They were then talking about the fact that cancer is caused by mitochondrial dysfunction. Well, guess what? Here you have a product that increases mitochondrial function. And then the third thing they talked about was the fact that you had to improve gut health to help prevent cancer. And here you have ProBio, which does a great job of improving gut health. So, these are 3 products that I recommend to everybody. And if it's not in your budget, that's okay. We can talk about that. We can figure out the one that makes sense for you based upon your budget. Now, what I want to do now is I want to switch a little bit and go into some other products that may be for people that you know. So another product in our portfolio is for dogs. How many people that you know love their dogs? And how many people that you know may treat their dogs better than they treat themselves? When I was going through cancer, I had a dog that had cancer. And I can tell you that in the dead of night, I was not thinking about myself. I was thinking about my dog that had cancer. I mean, literally, I was going through chemotherapy, and all I could think about was my dog, Rory, that was going through cancer. So all mammals have oxidative stress. All mammals have that cellular damage. And so because people started giving their dogs and horses and cats Protandim, the company came out with a product to reduce that oxidative stress in dogs. We all know that dogs age faster. So this product here is basically Protandim for dogs. And here you see, I just believe in pictures because they tell 1,000 words. Here's Zoe, necrotic tongue, inflammation. And here you see a picture of her with, just the vibrancy in her eyes. Now, she has since passed away, but here's what her owner says. Protandim gave me about 2 more years with my dog, 2 more quality years with my dog. And that's a gift. Here you see a dog with joint issues. And for people that have dogs with allergies, hot spots, Protandim, the pet tandem, does a great job for those dogs. So those are all great if you've got people that you know that love their dogs. I mentioned earlier that True Science, that LSU had done a study on skin cancer. They were interested, after that ABC primetime aired, they got back to Dr. Mccord, and they were interested in what could lowering oxidative stress do as it relates to skin cancer. So they got their hands on product, and in cell models, they found that Protandim broke the link in melanoma skin cancer. And we've got those LSU studies that I can send to you if you're interested. So they actually recommended to the company that we create a skincare regimen that is Nrf2 for the skin. So literally it is activating that cellular repair topically, going 7 layers deep. And it's the first Nrf2 skincare on the market. So again, pictures say the words, right? So here you have a guy that's an engineer. He's kind of crotchety Scotsman. And so he actually said, I'm just going to use it on half my face. And so here you see how he's got the line here versus here. And a lot of times skincare products, they work by making people inflamed, and that's how they get rid of the wrinkles. This is not doing that. This is literally regenerating skin cells topically and slowing down the cellular damage topically. I tell people sometimes, do you want fast aging face or slow aging face? Sign me up for slow aging face. Here, our eye serum can go directly on the eyelids. A lot of women we know that a lot of these skin products, that eye products, they tell you not to put it directly on the eye fold. And this is one that you can, and you see here how she looks like she actually had an eye lift. But the True Science skincare regimen is so much more than just a beauty product, you guys. It also helps with, it's a therapy for skin. So here you see a young girl that had sunburn, and she used the skincare, the moisturizer on her burn, and you see here 24 hours later. I also want you guys to be thinking about, who do you know that has psoriasis, rosacea, eczema? Time and time again, we have so many success stories of folks that have had significant skin issues where they're using Protandim on the inside to lower oxidative stress, and then they're also using the skincare on the outside to help with that cellular damage topically. So it's an inside out, outside in approach. Axio. This is one of my favorite products. And it's one of my favorite products because I still suffer from brain fog. I still suffer from cognitive dysfunction, from the fibromyalgia, the chronic fatigue syndrome, and also from chemotherapy. I still suffer from chemo fog. And so what Axio is, we market it as an energy drink. So for those of you guys that want to have a healthy energy drink, you should not be drinking the 5-hour energy, the Monsters, etc. Replace it with Smart Energy. You don't have any of the crashes, any of the jitters from this product here, and it's all natural. But Axio is so much more. It's literally Nrf2 for the brain. It helps to eliminate that brain fog. It helps to have better connections. It's able to penetrate that blood-brain barrier, and it helps with mental focus, mental concentration, and mental clarity. So if you know someone, that is suffering from just kind of memory issues, those are great people that you should be introducing this to, or having them take a look at this in conjunction with the Protandim, okay? And let's see. So here's just a couple of examples, you guys. We have great results with kids on the autism spectrum, kids that have ADD, ADHD, adults as well. But here's just a couple quick examples. So here's Luke. He was diagnosed with autism early on, and he was on Protandim and getting lots of therapy, and he was doing really, really, really well. Axio came out, and his mom said, well, I'm not going to put my 5-year-old child on an energy drink. He's got enough energy. Why should I give it to him? But the doctor, a cardiologist, said, you're missing the point. It's not about giving him more energy. It's about helping his brain function better. So here's what happened. Here you see an example. Had 21 kids in his class. In his class, before Axio came out, the teacher had tested all kids. And here's Luke right here, number 18. And you see that they were tested on knowing their letter name and knowing their letter sounds. And so he doesn't even register for knowing the letter name, but he does register ever so slightly here for letter sound. Well, Carrie starts giving Luke Axio, and his teacher tested the kids, the very same test on the kids in February, and look where Luke tested in February. And the only thing that Carrie did differently was start to give Luke Axio. And so kids on the spectrum, you guys, they, what the experts say is that kids on the spectrum, they need to have their oxidative stress reduced, that cellular damage. You need to lower inflammation. That's what Protandim does. You need to increase glutathione for kids on the spectrum, and Protandim increases intracellular production of glutathione by 300%. That's powerful. Kids on the spectrum also have issues with their mitochondria. So NRF1 is a perfect complement for that. And kids on the spectrum have a ton of gut issues. So the ProBio is perfect for them as well. And then here you have another young guy, and he ADHD. And here you see a handwriting sample from here to here. And again, the only thing that was done differently with this child, this boy, was starting him on Axio. And so I don't know what results you're going to have. I don't know what results your child may have, but I do know, and as I say it all the time, is you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. What if they just make an incremental improvement? We have so many stories. I actually have a webinar, you guys, that I did with a pharmacist who has a son with autism who has had amazing results. He went from being able to say maybe 5 to 10 words prompted to now speaking in sentences and drawing. And so if you want to see that webinar that we did together, because that particular webinar was really focused in on autism and helping kids on the spectrum. So let me know if you want that particular webinar, if that can help you out. And then finally, we have Physique. And again, we've been talking about nutrigenomics. We've been talking about using plant-based ingredients to impact genetic expression. And so this is a weight management system for folks that may be interested. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it just because my big focus is on, folks that have other types of issues. But if you're looking for a clean weight management system, not a meal replacement, you have to eat well, you've got to exercise, but also, the fat burn targets that visceral fat. You're restoring gut integrity and digestion. The ProBio, you guys, folks that have gut issues, celiac, just any kind of gut issue, do really, really, really well on this product. And here's just a couple examples of pictures of folks that have done really, really well from a weight management perspective. And so that's our product line, you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. As I said before, my goal in doing this webinar was simply to educate you on new technology, and that is bringing to the forefront the education and sharing about Protandim, about Nrf2 activation, about Nrf1 activation. I got my life back, and for years I prayed to get my life back. And I just know that there's somebody out there that needed to hear this information. I believe I have an obligation to share what I know with other people with the hopes that maybe this will be a solution for them. So if you've gotten value from this, please pass it on and share it with somebody that you also think could benefit from it. With that said, I'm going to say good night. And again, I'm open to any questions that you might have. Just reach out to me. Thank you so much. Take care.